time again for another BaseHeads. It's your weekly support group to talk your MLB addiction, brought to you as always by the worldofsportsnetwork.com. World of Sports Network, connecting the world through the sports we love. My name is Lestro, and with me is the man who's always making the case, the attorney at sports.
Yes, sir. How you guys doing today?
Good to hear you, my man. It is good to hear you. Also with me, as always, he's not a realist, he's the realist, Cisco the realist. How's it going, brother?
Hey, listen, he's going brutal, man, this week, man. My everybody that is on the everyone that is on the hot wire that for fantasy, like fantasy baseball, that is hot, he's going up against me this week.
He's coming up against you?
Everybody that is hot at this moment, like this week in fantasy, is going up against me. He's in the team that is facing me.
Well, that sounds like a rough week, brother. I would not want to face a whole team full of people that are at the peak right now.
Man, you have guys that are hot that I'm like, wait a minute, what is this? What is going on here?
Guys that shouldn't be hot. Well, we'll talk fantasy a little bit here. We actually had an interesting topic come up in the background that we're going to address this week. Is how is analytics affecting fantasy baseball? And we got to talk a little bit about analytics in the heart of the order here, because there was also an interview with Robert Manfred, the great commissioner of baseball. I say great just because you have to. I don't really care. I don't know the guy, but I got that in there. So we got a whole bunch of stuff in the heart of the order, but let's start where we always do. Attorney, my man, what are you watching this week?
You know what? I'm going to switch it up a little bit. Just kidding. I'm going to stick with the Yankees.
Of course you're sticking with the Yankees.
You know, listen, is it possible that in the major leagues you can live and die but listen, literally live and die by not throwing the fastball? I want to ask you guys that question.
We're finding out with the Yankees, man. They are trying. Traditionally, no. And especially right now with guys trying to hit through the shift, they're throwing fastballs and they're throwing them up. It is the velocity game these days, except in the Bronx.
It's weird, man, because, you know, you go back to, I know this is a baseball show, but you go back to the Rockets in the Game 7 that they lost to the Warriors. You know, the Rockets made their living this year shooting three-pointers. Shooting a lot of 3-pointers.
Absolutely.
But in that game 7, they shot 27. They missed 27 3-pointers in a row. But you know what they did? In a row. But you know what they did? They stuck with it. They kept shooting threes. And, you know, like all year they lived by the 3, but in that game 7, they died by the 3. And I think that's the case with the Yankees, man. The Yankees throw the fastball, their starting pitching rotation. They throw fastballs 42% of the time, which is the lowest since Fangraphs began tracking in 2002. Second lowest in the majors is Detroit Tigers, 48%. So is there a such thing as a breaking point with too many breaking balls? I think it might be, because, you know, it's problematic in a playoff series. Like I just alluded to the Rockets shooting threes. If you go into a playoff series with a baseball playoff series, you know, pitcher throws breaking ball after breaking ball after breaking ball. Eventually that opponent's going to adapt because the pitcher's not throwing anything else but a breaking ball. I just think the Yankees got to start, you know, getting back to the old school ways, which is throwing that 95-mile-per-hour heater up and in and challenging hitters. It's like the Yankees pitchers are afraid of they're desperate to avoid contact.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's trying to avoid contact, because that's with the whole launch angle revolution and everything like that. Now it's just a matter of hoping they miss the bats. And the Yankees been doing this for a couple of years now. I was after you brought this up, I didn't really realize it, but I looked into it a little bit too. And according to Fangraphs, they're the lowest fastball rate for the past couple of years. This is an actual strategy by the Yankees that they are trying to throw fewer fastballs.
Lestro, it's weird. It's very weird, because the Yankees this year and last year, their staff average when it comes to fastballs, starting pitching rotation staff, 95 miles per hour.
Yeah.
That's the starting pitching rotation's average fastball, which is, you know, that's the fastest since 2002. So the fastballs for the Yankees, the pitchers that throw fastballs, they throw the fastball pretty hard and pretty fast. But I don't know what it is. They're just, like you said, they're desperate to avoid contact. I guess with the players hitting more home runs and the launch angles. I don't know. It's very, very strange.
Now, what's interesting is that they've got Aroldis Chapman at the back end there, so it's one of those, like, when he comes in then throwing the 100, 101 mile an hour, it looks even faster when you've been facing, 87 mile an hour splitters all day. You drop that 100 mile an hour sucker in, it comes blazing by at the end of the game.
No doubt. Listen to this, Sonny Gray. Sonny Gray throws his average fastball is 93 miles per hour, which is the same as his rookie year, 2013. So from his rookie year until now, 5 years later, his fastball has stayed the same. But his rookie year, he threw the fastball 64.6% of the time. This year, he's throwing the fastball 32.1% of the time. Strange. Same thing with Masahiro Tanaka. Masahiro Tanaka in 2014, the average fastball for him was 91.7 miles per hour. This year, 91.2 miles per hour.
Man,
fastball, he hasn't lost a lot of velocity.
In 2014.
Go ahead, Cisco.
In 2014, man, he confused me, man. I thought he was the real deal. He was the best pitcher in baseball in the first half of the season. He's a fraud. He's a fraud.
Who's that?
Cisco. Fraud. What I'm telling you, Cisco, is from 2014 to now, Tanaka's fastball hasn't gotten any slower. But in 2014, he threw the fastball 40.6% of the time. This year, he's throwing the fastball 28.1% of the time.
Because his fastball sucks now.
No,
but it's the same.
No, that's just it. It's the same
velocity.
It's the same fastball. It's the Yankee strategy.
Back then, he was legit.
Listen.
Back then, he was throwing 96, 97. He was legit, man.
His average fastball in 2004, it was 91.7. So we'll say 92 miles per hour. But what made him better in 2014 is the splitter was so nasty, which made the fastball look faster. That's what it was. But the Yankees, they're just the pitching staff. It's a lack of aggression with them. Like we keep alluding to, they're desperate to avoid contact. The walk rates have increased, and in my opinion, what's going to haunt the Yankees is the more breaking balls you throw, the more sliders you throw, the more curveballs you throw. More likely those pitches you throw, they're more likely to hang up.
You're going to hang one. That's exactly right.
Let me tell you this about the analytics when it comes to pitching. Listen, I was always told as I was learning the game of baseball, because I didn't play it, I was always known. So, listen, if a pitcher want to be good, they need to challenge the hitter with their best stuff at all time. The pitcher need to make his decision and what he's going to do. He need to throw. If his fastball is the best pitcher, he can throw it, but don't be afraid to go inside. Like that, like I see with the analytics, what I see is that I see a lot of people that try to get away from what they do. And it's not making sense on both sides of the ball.
You're right. I was thinking you're absolutely right, Cisco. I was thinking as he was talking that why do the Yankees get fastball pitchers if they don't want them to throw fastballs? Like you were just saying that this is what they do. They got to do it. You're dead on, Cisco. That is 100% the case. Why do you pick up fastball throwers like Tanaka if you're not going to let him throw them? Like Gray if you're not going to let him throw the fastball?
And it's ironic because going back to the analytics. If you look at the analytics, the statistics say throwing a breaking ball, you have more of a chance to succeed than throwing a fastball. The breaking ball has a higher out rate than a fastball. That's what the analytics say. It's the same thing in the NBA. The analytics say a 3-point shot is more efficient than a 2-point shot. But again, it comes down to the eye test. The eye test says shoot a mid-range shot, shoot a layup. That's a better chance of succeeding. The eye test for me says throw a fastball, blow that hitter away with the fastball. You have a better chance of succeeding. Well, again, the analytics versus the eye test. For me, I look at the eye test.
The eye test says to me that I don't care what the analytics say, you got to throw the fastball to establish it before you can throw the breaking ball. If they're waiting on the breaking ball, then it's just a curve. They have to not think it's coming. They have to think you're throwing the heat in order for the breaking ball to be effective.
Exactly. No question about it. Because, again, going back to a playoff series, if you're in a playoff series and this pitcher continues to throw curveball or slider, after changeup, after breaking pitch, after breaking pitch, after breaking pitch, you're going to sit on that breaking pitch and wait on it because he hasn't shown you the fastball yet.
Yeah,
you have no reason to expect the fastball.
Exactly. Well, that's that's a fascinating opening topic. When you had mentioned that off air, I was like, that is a fascinating opening. I had no idea. But so let's turn to Cisco now and find out what he's watching. And I'm pretty sure for the first time in a few weeks, it's not Mookie Betts because Mookie Betts went down with an injury this week. So Cisco, what about you, man? What are you watching?
Man. Listen. Mookie Betts was too good to be true.
Too good to be true.
That in order to slow him down, he needed to get hurt.
Nobody could do it except an injury.
Like nobody could keep up with what he was doing. Like he was on pace. He was on pace to do the unthinkable in everything.
Right.
Double,
to be better than Mike Trout.
Home run. He was. I don't know. He's better than Mike Trout, but like one thing that Mike Trout seems to be at a whole different level is in wins above replacement. Like Mike Trout seems to be untouchable. Like no one ever come close to him.
Oh, I know. I was just making a joke that Mookie Betts was going to do the impossible and steal an MVP from Mike Trout. But go on. What are you watching this week, man?
Man, Clayton Kershaw, man.
Clayton Kershaw. You know, I watched him this week too because the Phillies were in L.A. and he came back and then left again right away.
You know, 4 out of the last 5 years, 4 out of the last show has been on the DL, has appeared on the DL. Yeah, multiple times in the season too.
So Cisco, what are you watching here?
Well, man, it's the same story with this guy every year, and I'm sick of it. I'm tired. I'm sick of him. I'm tired of his BS. I'm tired. I'm sick of it. He, every year now, over the last 3 years, he gets hurt. Then after he gets hurt, he come back for like 20 starts. And he goes like 15-5. And the same excuse is like, oh, if he would have pitched, Max Scherzer would have not won the Cy Young. It's the same thing over the last 3 years. This is the 3rd year that he's going on the DL. Everybody said that this guy is the face of baseball when it comes to pitching. He is the poster boy for the pitcher. He is the guy that everyone celebrates. He is the Madonna of the pitcher. You know, like the Tom Cruise of the pitcher. Everybody just celebrate this guy. I'm just tired of him, man. I'm sick of this. Especially I acquired him for my fantasy team.
From a talent standpoint, Clayton Kershaw probably is the best pitcher in baseball, talent-wise.
Some of the numbers too. I was facing the Phillies this week. They were popping up some of those opposing batting average numbers and ERA numbers and things. And he is, statistically speaking, he's very impressive. But again, he doesn't play full seasons anymore.
You know, you can compare him to maybe Peyton Manning, because Peyton Manning is one of the best regular season quarterbacks ever. But when it comes to the postseason, Peyton Manning has a bad history and a bad resume in the postseason.
I honestly think if baseball was pitch, we saw without this so much analytic, especially he will not be, his number will have not been the number that they are.
No, I think they still would have been, bro. Because
no. This guy is good. This guy got his moment, but I think we're moving into a different direction now with him. I don't think he's he's the same dominant pitcher that he once was.
You're right, but he was once for maybe 4 to 5 years.
Like the normal run that a pitcher usually have.
Well, let me ask you guys this. He's been injured, as we've said, the past couple of years. He's found himself on the DL, come back, pitch strong. Is this a conditioning problem? Is he not? Like taking the right care? Is there something wrong on the staff there that he keeps getting hurt, or is this just fluky?
No, it's a thing of legend with Clayton Kershaw when it comes to his pregame routine and his rituals and in terms of keeping his body fresh, especially on game day. Man, you ask anybody that plays with Clayton Kershaw, it's a thing of legend, man. You don't talk to him on game days. His preparation is second to none. It has nothing to do with Clayton Kershaw in terms of conditioning. It's just,
but off-season conditioning is a different thing. Preparation and focus and all of that is one thing. But if he's not, LeBron is spending crazy money in order to do what he does with his body and keep it in shape.
He makes a lot of money,
No, I think Clayton Kershaw
this year, this is what's gonna get to me. this is what's gonna really get to me with him. What do you guys say? Who am I? The contract guy, right?
Yeah, I'm the contract guy. Always on the contract.
Okay.
Here.
This year he's pitching for a contract. He can opt out. So he's gonna pitch like 15, 20 games. And what's gonna happen? He's gonna opt out.
Gonna get the big money at the end of the year.
He's gonna get the big money. He's gonna opt out.
But hey, remember last year, there was talk about Tanaka opting out of this contract, but his performance didn't live up to par, so he didn't opt out.
Listen, why are you talking about a guy opting out with an ERA close to 5? Come on, man.
Hey, no. Listen. The point is, it sounds good and dandy. I'm gonna opt out and get more money, but if your performance doesn't live up to your potential, you're not gonna opt out because you might not get that money that you
especially this past offseason.
His performance is gonna live up to his potential. His performance is gonna live up to his potential at the end of the year. What they're gonna question, what the thing is that he's gonna question is this: are you gonna give him a new contract? Are you gonna give him a new contract, knowing his durability?
Listen, Cisco, you want me?
Yes, he's Clayton Kershaw. Sign him and put him on my rotation. I don't care about his durability. If I get him for the second half of the season, if I get him for the first half, if I get him for every other third game, I don't care. Bring him in.
You know who did this? Greinke opted out from the Dodgers contract and got a lot of money.
Yes.
Cisco, you want me to defend Clayton Kershaw? Guess what? I'm not gonna, because I don't think a pitcher with the durability concerns that Clayton Kershaw has, plus the age, plus the terrible postseason resume, deserves to get another $200 million at this stage of his career.
That's 100% true.
So I'm not going to defend Clayton Kershaw, Cisco. Is a team going to probably throw $200 million at him?
Yes.
No question about it.
Yes.
Do I want my team to do that? No, because the track record doesn't say this guy right now deserves $200 million more dollars. No.
In the position my team is in, if they paid for him for that, it would just be as a symbolic buy as well for the Phils, and I would be.
It would be to put people in the seats.
Yeah, and I'd be okay with that where we are in ours, but no, not for the Yankees, not for a team that's trying to run. You put him on a shorter contract for something like that. Well, speaking of Kershaw and the Dodgers, what I was watching this week was the Phillies on the West Coast. They were out here playing the Dodgers, and so I got to watch Kershaw and watch him go out of that game. And I got to tell you guys, I so rarely, because I'm a Phils fan out here on the West Coast, so I watch a lot of Phillies games. They start at 4 o'clock at my time. So I leave work and I get home and I put the game on, and it's like in the third or fourth inning, and the game's over by 8 o'clock. It is a fantastic way to watch baseball. These games out here on the West Coast that start at 7, I know for you guys they're starting at 10 when your team is on the West Coast, but even the ones that start at 7 and just the average time for everybody, and the game's not over till 10 or 10:30, I don't know if this is as good an experience. And I've been thinking about this week. It seems to me that they talk about shortening the game, and I know we're going to talk about this in the Heart of the Order coming up after, but it seems to me that we're talking about shortening the game and making it quicker and that kind of thing. I think it needs to be more accessible. I'd like kids to be able to watch baseball as opposed to watching, a couple hours and then having to go to bed. If the game's on at 4 or 5, they come home from work and they can watch it. The problem, of course, is that no one's going to go to the ballpark at 4 or 5. You know what I mean?
Well,
you got to have it later for people to get out of work. But I don't know what the answer is. I would just like more kids to be able to experience baseball the way I do at the afternoon. It's still in the sunshine as far as I'm concerned. The game's over and it's still light out.
Guess what, Lestro? They've done that. They've changed that up a little bit. A couple times a year. Well, not a year, but a couple times this year, the Yankees have started at 6:35 p.m.
That's a great, it's only a half hour to an hour earlier, but it makes a big difference. I'd still like it to go earlier. I'd like to see 5 or 5:30 starts, which I know, especially in a market like New York, it's impossible to get out of work, get home, get your kid, get to the stadium by 5 or 5:30 without having to take time off. I know the commercials aren't going to sell as well, but baseball's a daylight experience,
Personally, I like watch. If I'm at the game, I'd rather go to a night game, especially in the summertime, man. It's too hot during the day.
That's a good point. Or the sun is a bit much. It's nicer under the lights sometimes.
Yeah,
Cisco,
man.
what about you? Do you got any thoughts on baseball starting late? Do you watch the West Coast games? Because I know that was the other thing. When I lived on the East Coast and the Phils would go west, it would be 1:30 before the game was over.
Well, this is the thing. Sometime I go to bed, and like the game are not over until like 2 a.m. in the morning or 3 a.m. in the morning here, man.
It's crazy.
And I don't get to see and like a lot of people talk about people. A lot of people don't talk about the only player that I seen in the history of baseball during my time that got talked about. I only seen two guys playing in the West Coast. Those guys are Barry Bonds and Mike Trout.
Wrong, bro. You're forgetting Tony Gwynn, bro.
No, man, Tony Gwynn didn't get the credit that he deserved.
Tony Gwynn Cisco's right on this. Tony Gwynn got talked stats, but he wasn't like must see. You know what I mean? Like Barry Bonds. Barry Bonds.
Tony Gwynn was.
Nobody cut into anything to see Tony Gwynn hit.
Tony Gwynn was not a box office guy. Tony Gwynn was not. No.
Tony Gwynn, great hitter.
Tony Gwynn was a great hitter, but a lot of people don't find excitement in his head and his thing. And a lot of people feel like Tony Gwynn didn't hit the ball hard enough. That most of his hits were cheap hit and stuff like that.
If not cheap, slap hits. He was a hitter. Yeah. He was an average hitter, not a power hitter.
Yeah,
I don't mean average. He hit for average, not a power hitter. But
in terms of pure hitters throughout the history of the game, he's right up there, maybe along with Ichiro as one of the best pure hitters ever.
I agree. And Pete Rose up there as well. But you're right. It blocks the West Coast. It's part of the West Coast bias. People don't get to see these teams out here, but I don't know. It's just not as good for the fans to start as late. But what's interesting about that is that it talks about to get more people into the game and watch the games, and maybe if the game was shorter, it would end quicker. So here in the heart of the order today, I wanted to talk to you guys about an interview Rob Manfred did on The Athletic with Jason. I think it was with Jason Stark. Maybe it was with Ken Rosenthal. I don't know, but it was on The Athletic. It's a paid site. It's fantastic. I know it's a plug that I'm doing here for free. Great site. I subscribe. It's worth every penny. But on that site, there was this interview with the commissioner of baseball where they were talking about ways to speed up the game and possible rule changes to go through the shift. And I know, attorney, you got some thoughts on the ways to speed up the game too. What are you thinking on this? First of all, does the game need to be sped up? It averages about 3 hours right now, like 3 hours and 4 minutes. Does it need to be sped up, and how would you do it?
Well, 3 hours is just enough. That's like the borderline. Any longer than 3 hours, we're pushing it. People, tend to lose focus and not want to sit for any longer than 3 hours when watching a baseball game, whether they're at the ballpark or in their living room. Yeah. But if
starts to feel like a long time.
No question. But if we're going to make it shorter, now I don't like to talk about the shift. That's nonsense, man. The shift is the shift. It's been the shift for 100 years. You either change your routine when it comes to hitting. You either find a way to beat the shift, or you hit into the shift and it's an easy out for the opponent. It's that simple. They're never going to change the shift. They're never going to change the rules involving the shift. That is what it is. But in terms of like other ways to maybe shorten the game, how about when someone walks or gets hit by a pitch, they actually run to first base? They maybe even sprint to first base.
Pete Rose style.
Yes, yeah. You see someone walk, they bend down, they take their shin guard off, they wait for the bat boy to come take it, No. Get your ass to first base, run to first base, and let's continue the game. Also, after an inning ends, the middle innings, the half inning, enough with the 10 warm-up pitches for the starting pitcher that's pitched 5 innings already. There's no need for 10 warm-up pitches. He's been pitching all game. He's fine. There's no need for the infielders to field ground balls or the outfielders to have a catch and catch fly balls. What's the need? They're major league players. They've been doing it their whole life. That half inning, man, that's an extra 5 minutes.
Yeah, but
so
that half inning,
9.
Let's be honest here, attorney. That half inning has nothing to do with the guys warming up because my proposal fits in there, and my proposal is fewer fucking commercials because that's what that is about. The reason that half inning takes so long is because they're selling the time between the inning to advertisers, and if you want to shorten the game, cut some of the commercials down. There's no need for 2, 3, 5 minutes in between innings. Turn them around. Get them in and out in a minute and a half. Get the other guy up there. Throw your 5 warm-up pitches. Let's go. Get out there. But I don't think it's necessarily the players that are taking so long. I think it's the setup of the game and the commercials that's creating that sort of length.
Let's show. What about this? What about when somebody strikes out and they take that slow walk back to the dugout? The next pitch can't, the next batter can't start his at bat until that other hitter is into the dugout.
Man,
And, some of these hitters take a minute and a half to walk back to the dugout after they strike out.
It's something I've never even thought about. Cisco, what about you?
Listen. I'm gonna. I don't know if you guys are familiar with boxing. Do you guys know Terry Atlas?
I know the name.
Terry Atlas, the trainer.
Yeah, know the name. In what context, though?
So Terry Atlas, there was like a decision in boxing, and it was like the wrong decision given by the judges in a boxing fight. And Terry Atlas said this: "I'm sick of it, but I can't go nowhere." He's the same thing, guy. I'm sick of the way a lot of things are happening in baseball, but I gotta do this show every week with you guys. Like, I'm sick of this analytic. I'm sick of everything that the game is bringing, and I want to see that traditional baseball. Baseball doesn't have a reason to change. Baseball needs to be the game, the way the game is played. Baseball doesn't need to be different.
I agree with you.
Making the game better. He's losing fanatics. That's what they're doing. He's getting people to complain, and I am sick of it.
You know what? I agree with you, and I wrote something down here because when the attorney was talking about the shift, it's the way it's always been, it's how it's always going to be. No, actually, that the shift is a relatively new phenomenon. It is the kind of thing that's really only been used extensively and heavily in baseball in the past 10, 12, 15 years. Prior to
why, Lestro? You know why?
Because it works.
Analytics.
Yeah, because the analytics show it works.
But in the past 50 or 60 years, the defense, if a hitter came up, the defense knew mostly where that guy was going to hit the ball based off track record and based off, resume. So it wasn't an official shift, but the defense would shift, I guess you could say, to where that hitter is known to hit the ball.
I know, but when we're talking about the shift, what we're talking about is lining up 3 or 4 infielders on one side of the field and leaving the other side open. Now, that's fairly new. But what the commissioner was talking about with this is that he was saying that normally it self-corrects, and I'm with Cisco. The game will iron itself out. It'll figure it out. Baseball's going on forever. But this actually hasn't, and the commissioner was talking about that the guys aren't bunting through. And I don't care my power hitter, whatever. I want you on base, not out. If they got you lined up in the shift, bunt it to third. Screw it. Get on base. We'll get someone else to get you in. That's the way the game works. We keep
guys, I have a question. Guys, I have a question for you guys. What is up with all of these commissioners around the sport making things worse? Trying to change too much try to reinvent the wheel.
Well, this one, he's actually trying to right the ship.
Every new commissioner try to change everything. I had it in basketball, football, baseball. I had it. Baseball was the only sport that I thought that remained to be the same. But all of this analytics and everything that's going on is taken away from the game.
Well, that's just it, Cisco. It's not the commissioner that's forcing the analytics. It's the analytics that are forcing the hand of the commissioner to try and do rules like, okay, you can only keep 2 guys on either side of second base or something. You know what I mean?
Lestro, didn't you just mention how if the shift is on, power hitter or not, they should try to bunt?
They should
bunt. Get on base.
Bunt to third, get on base.
Didn't we have this discussion about a month ago on BaseHeads when we talked about the fight that happened between the Orioles and the Twins?
Yes.
How the player bunted with the shift on and with the baseball's unwritten rules or whatnot.
Fuck that unwritten rule.
I agree. I'm just saying, if you want that to happen more often, there's gonna be more fights and more arguments and more batters getting hit by pitchers that are ticked off.
Or fewer shifts. It could go either way, and I think baseball could correct if they do that, but it hasn't. And the fact that they're not trying to auto-correct that they're changing their launch angle, another analytics number and stat, that they're changing their launch angle and the launch angle revolution to try and hit over the shift as opposed to through it, has been the change, and that's resulted in fewer balls in play, which has resulted in higher strikeouts, fewer hits, and people say it's not as an exciting form of baseball. I think that you play your players, but maybe the rule should be, and I said this just before, you keep 2 guys on either side of second base. That's the rule. You can line them up right up to the base, but keep 2 guys on either side of the base doesn't seem like too bad an imposition. You know what I mean? Like that sounds like traditional baseball to me.
Yeah.
I don't know, but now the other thing about analytics here is that you guys were saying offline that it apparently is affecting fantasy baseball too. Now, what I've seen on this is it's affecting starting pitching. Is it affecting it in other ways too? Has the analytics, which I kind of see as fantasy baseball played on the field almost, like it's like computer baseball played live, and
let me tell you something. Okay, you got guys striking out way too much, swinging at everything. You have a guy like, this is crazy. It is so, like, the analytics is taking so much from even some players. Like, for example, let me give you an example, and you guys might disagree, but I don't see Jose Altuve as a I see Jose Altuve as a leadoff hitter. He could have been one of the greatest leadoff hitters that ever played, but he's batting third. That makes no sense whatsoever.
What's his power? But I agree with you. I think he could be a great leadoff. He really has that sort of eye spark plug move.
Altuve is a leadoff hitter. He naturally is a leadoff hitter. And you got guys like Aaron Judge hitting second. You have guys hitting in that lineup the way that they cannot hit, and those guys are striking out too much.
Mike Trout's hitting second too. Mike Trout hits second.
Yeah, that's absurd. Mike Trout's on pace for 54 home runs.
Bryce Harper was leading leadoff.
Yeah, what is up with that?
Yeah, like what is up with that?
Because the thought is to get your best hitter an extra at bat. You know,
that's stupid. That's dumb. Because before people used to produce more offense, having it that old way. So the analytics are not improving anything. If anything, is making things worse. Another thing, and it pissed me off. The other day, I took the guy. What's his name? The pitcher from the Devil Ray. The pitcher that they always put. Now they start with a closer and then they put him in the second inning.
Oh, the second guy.
Listen.
Sergio Romo.
Listen, no, the guy the pitcher, not the closer, the pitcher.
Yeah, not the opener, the guy who follows him. I don't know, but you took him.
Ryan Jarbro, right?
Okay.
I took him in my fantasy team, right? And I'm looking at my line now. I'm like, hey, listen, when is this guy? Oh my God, pick this pitcher off waiver. When is this guy gonna pitch? And I'm thinking, like, I'm relaxing. I'm doing my lineup. Suddenly, I'm down in pitching. Why? Because he gave up for a run. Why? I would have not put him to pitch that day. But guess what? I didn't even knew. He came in relief. He came in relief as the starter after the first inning and pitched 7 innings. I didn't know that.
You know how else analytics is ruining starting pitchers and pitchers in general? It's increasing the walk rates for pitchers, because, for example, if you look at a lineup and a pitcher's facing a batter who he has great numbers against, but the batter after that batter, that pitcher has bad numbers against. The pitcher facing this batter, the batter has great numbers against that pitcher, but the batter after that batter has bad numbers against that pitcher. That pitcher's gonna walk. That pitcher's gonna walk that batter to get. That's a walk on his resume to face the batter who he has better numbers against. Even though he has a good probability of getting that batter out, even though the numbers are great against him, still the walk rates. The analytics are saying, you know what? We're gonna pitch around guy based off numbers and based off the numbers that person has against that person. And that's just I don't like that, man. I just think my best against your best. I think that's how it should be.
I like watching everybody play against everyone. You know what? It's the thing. I hate the intentional walk where they're not throwing the ball at any time, even against my own team. When my team intentionally walks a dude, I want the next guy to hit on him. I just do.
And then for hitters, it's been known that if a lefty pitcher is coming up to bat, coming up to pitch, you bring up a righty hitter. That's usually what it does. Righty hitter against lefty pitcher. Lefty
see the ball differently.
Yeah, but even if a lefty batter has good numbers against this lefty pitcher, 9 times out of 10, the manager's going to do everything he can to make sure that lefty batter doesn't face that lefty pitcher. Even if the numbers, individual numbers, are good against that pitcher, the analytics say a lefty batter against a lefty pitcher, that no, the pitcher's in favor, and vice versa. Righty hitter versus righty pitcher. Even though that batter's numbers might be good against that pitcher, if the analytics say no, they're gonna really follow the analytics instead of the eye test, and that translates to fantasy too. It's just like you said, Cisco. It's messing up the fantasy game.
You know. One time in 2009, we were facing. This is two things by George Arati that I always remember. In 2009, we were facing the Anaheim Angels, and he had Robertson in the mound, and then he decided to bring in Alfredo Aceves to face Kendrick Morales when Kendrick Morales was in his prime, because Alfredo Aceves have never faced. He looked at his book and he said that Alfredo Aceves have never faced Kendrick Morales.
So Morales has no idea what's coming.
Guess what happened?
Killed him.
Bam! We lost the game. Then another time, he did the unthinkable. He had Mariano Rivera. I don't know if you remember, attorney. Few years back, he had Mariano Rivera walk somebody. And Mariano was mad because he said, listen, I never walk anybody. He had Mariano Rivera walk somebody. He had Mariano Rivera walk a batter. You're not supposed to do that.
No, you let that guy pitch at all costs.
Yeah.
No.
Well, I'll tell you what, boys. Let's stop talking about the analytics for a second, because I think we're all in agreement that it is changing the game that we watch in ways that we're not sure if we like. It's a 150-year-old game. It works. You know what I mean? Like can we just try and figure out how to play it? But with that in mind, let's talk about some actual baseball. What do you say? Did you guys watch some games this week? Because we just got past Memorial Day weekend. Was this past weekend, and that is the traditional sort of like milestone to see what we actually have. This is where teams start to shake out. Where those teams that had the hot starts that are bad, like the Mets, the Mets, by the way, a literal dumpster fire last week, and then we start to see the teams that we expect to do well start to come back up. So, like I said, the Mets were a literal dumpster fire. The Phillies found themselves in first last week and then shit the bed and dropped back down a couple notches. The Mariners are shaking out to look like a real team, even with their injuries and their suspensions. The Mariners look like a real team. The Nationals are starting to shake up to get in there. But I think one of the most fascinating divisions is still the NL West, where everybody except the Padres are now within 3 games of each other in the lead here. Are you guys watching this race shape up in the NL West? This is an exciting division, actually.
This is it. This is crunch time for the Giants. Madison Bumgarner's back. He's ready to lead the Giants back to the postseason. We'll see what happens if the Giants can get Bumgarner back on track. Johnny Cueto comes back healthy. That Giants starting pitching rotation, plus their lineup that's been overachieving. That Giants team, don't be surprised if they make a run to win the NL West.
They're only 3 back. I mean, the Diamondbacks are in free fall since April. The Rockies are just sort of standard doing their thing. The Dodgers haven't gotten revved up yet. Cisco, what are you watching out in the West?
I was getting hope. I'm like, listen, the Dodgers in my fantasy team with Clayton Kershaw, we're gonna hit a different direction. I thought the hope for the Dodgers was still alive, but Clayton Kershaw now being out for a month is.
You think that's back on the DL? Kershaw back on the DL. Do you think that changes this race? Because right now the Dodgers rather.
Yeah, because they got Ryu, not the DL too.
Yeah, well, Kemp, though, is leading them. He put on an offensive show against the Phils this week.
Kemp is having a good – I'm watching him, and he's having a good year. Like, this is one of the better years of his career, quietly. Him and Nick Markakis have really shown signal.
As quietly as anybody can be on the L.A. Dodgers, of course.
Yeah, Kemp is having a really good season. I'm very surprised. Like,
doesn't Nick Markakis lead the NL in batting average?
No, Kemp and Kemp and Scooter got it. Scooter get it. Scooter
Gannett.
Yeah.
You know Nick Markakis, man, he's never been an All-Star.
Really? Is that true?
Yeah.
That's true, attorney?
Yeah, I think he's won 2 Gold Gloves, but never been an All-Star.
He never been an All-Star?
Well, from the NL West to the NL East, that's the other division right now that is kind of exciting. And this is the one that's starting to shake out.
Wow. Nick Markakis never been an All-Star?
No. Check it out.
I'm as surprised as you are, man. But that
No. It is. No, it's true. It's true because his numbers are never. His numbers are never impressive in the beginning. This is he's a guy that he gets that number throughout the year spread out. Then he gets in a stretch.
Nick Markakis is somebody you love to have on your team, though, because he's just a good veteran, knows the game, plays the game the right way, plays the game hard, and hits. Hits for a high average every single year, bro.
I know his uncle. I'm friend with his uncle, and then when we went to the winter meeting back in 2015, all his uncle was trying to say to talk to people at the winter meeting was Nick, Nick to everybody, Nick. Like his uncle will use his name.
We're just trying to get it in their head like that old Seinfeld Costanza.
Yeah. So yeah, but Nick Markakis is having a good year. I hope the Yankees doesn't sign him because he's playing for a contract.
Always comes back to the contract.
So,
Speaking of them in the NL East, the Braves, they lost Acuna on the DL there, and since then, both the Braves and the Phillies have kind of, for the past couple of weeks, been that sort of 500 team that the Braves were expecting the Phillies hoped to be, as opposed to the teams that were leading that division. And in that time, the Nationals have gone 7-3 in their last 10 and are now only a game and a half back of first. Is this the Nationals ship finally being righted? Are we seeing the NL East shake out the way it's supposed to, or do you think, or do you think the Braves and Phils can continue to impress as this season moves on?
Listen, one thing about the NL East, the Nationals, yes, they are the favorite, but the Nationals are not going to run away with that division. The Braves and the Phillies, they're not going to let that happen. They're going to keep chipping at the Nationals and being a thorn in the Nationals behind. But the Nationals, man, they're just too good of a team for when healthy. Zimmerman's coming back, Murphy's coming back, Scherzer and Strasburg, Bryce Harper's getting hot. This National team is just too good, man, from top to bottom, to let a young team like the Phillies or a young team like the Braves win that division.
You would have to think
no doubt
so,
about
right?
it. No, I know so. The National team, I just told you, they're getting their big bats back, man. Daniel Murphy is a 330 hitter. Ryan Zimmerman hit 3-something last year, high threes. Yeah, Ryan Zimmerman's a little bit old. Daniel Murphy's a little bit old, but they're hitters, man. And they've been in pennant races before. They've been in games that matter. They're not going to let two young, inexperienced teams like the Phillies and the Braves prevent them from winning that division.
And now they are tan.
Case closed.
Now they are tan, rested, and ready to come back to finish the season.
Oh, don't forget Adam Eaton too. He'll be back soon as well.
This is funny because the.
No, it's not funny. It's not funny, man. The Phillies hate to break it to you, Lestro, but they're too young and they're too inexperienced to win the NL East this year.
I know that. We got to the first place and immediately looked down and fell off the cliff.
Listen, the Brave. One thing is this about the Brave. I believe sometimes you have a guy that can really be a difference maker and carry a team and the way the team play. And a lot of people don't give credit to Freddie Freeman. I mean, Freddie Freeman is really carrying the load. And if the season was over, today he'll be the MVP.
Cisco, he was on his way to winning MVP last year, too, before he broke his wrist.
The way Freddie Freeman is playing. I think the National are what they are. I'm not surprised with what they're doing. That's what they're supposed to do. They should not be in this position regardless, because they still have their pitching. They should not be in this position, and they still have enough hitter. I think that the Phillies and the Braves are gonna be there, neck and neck for a very long time into August. Then is when they're gonna have to separate.
See, and I think the Braves can keep up the run. I think with Freeman, I think with Markakis, and I think with the energy that they're going to get when Acuna comes back and they get from Albies, I think the Braves can stick with him. I don't know that the Phillies can. I think the Phillies are playing a little bit above their head, or actually, I think the Phillies are playing right where they are, and I think this is the team we have. I think the Nationals are starting to find their team, and when those bats come back, I see the Nationals starting to climb and slowly, like tortoise in the hare, pace themselves ahead and start to get ahead. By the time the season ends, I would not be surprised if the Nationals were 6 games up, you know?
Look at it like this. All right, I figured you guys figured too that it's going to be between the Braves and the Nationals to win the NL East, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So say the Phillies fade away, and it's the last game. Say the Nationals, still struggle a little bit.
The thing about the Philly is this. This is the thing about the Philly. They are not gonna fade away after the All-Star break they are there, because I have a feeling that the Phillies are gonna pull the trigger and make a move and get a guy.
That's true. They will be buyers.
Just food for thought, Cisco. We're just assuming the Phillies fade away and the Nationals don't, take that next leap, and they're still neck and neck come September with the Braves for the NL East. Say it's last game of the season. 1 game to win the NL East. Who's the ace for the Braves? Who's the ace that's going to go up against Max Scherzer and win the division for the Braves? Who is it?
Yeah, they don't have one. There's not a lead. There's not an elite pitcher on that staff.
Right now, what's his name?
Don't tell me Julio Teran. Don't tell me Julio Teran.
Homeboy from last night. What is the last name?
Fultonets.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mike Fultonewicz.
Come on, bro.
I'm with you, man. That is not a guy you can bank on as beating us.
Listen,
He wouldn't even bank to beat a Strasburg.
I'd rather have the Phillies play the Nationals in a 1 game for the NL East.
Jake Arrieta.
You'll get exactly. You'll have Arrieta going up.
Or Jake Nola or Aaron Nola. You can send out there too right now. He's playing like an ace.
A little bit inexperienced for my liking.
Yeah, you're right. I would send Jake too.
Yeah. So.
Listen, but sometimes for pitching, sometimes when you got it,
Well, listen, fellas. Oh, I'm sorry, Cisco. Go ahead.
Like sometimes, if a pitcher is good, a pitcher is good. Like example, how old was Just Beckett? 23 when he beat the Yankees in Game 6. I mean, sometimes if you good at the time that you good. When you get hot at the time that you hot.
Yeah, but none of the Braves pitchers are having that kind of year. Nola maybe.
No, but they're pitching good.
They're pitching well.
Who started that game for the Yankees?
Andy Pettit.
Ooh, there's a veteran name that's gonna make that count. Well, listen, guys, we are running out of time here. Once again, we tried to keep it tight and couldn't do it. But let's make the turn here towards the end of the show and head over to Cisco the Realist for the Realist segment. Cisco, what do you want to talk about this week for the Realist?
There was this guy in the free agent market last year that the Red Sox signed, and he seems to be the best off-season acquisition this year. The realist for this week is JD Martinez.
JD Martinez making big money and living up to it.
JD Martinez, when he signed the first day, I made a video agreeing with the Red Sox that was a good signing, which is hard for me to agree with the Red Sox. being a Yankee fan, but JD Martinez is pretty much what I thought it would be. I thought he would come to Boston, he more for average, and hit between 40 home run and 45. Right now, he's leading the league. He's leading the league in home run.
19 home runs.
19 home run. He's leading the league.
He's leading the league in RBI at 48. And he's hitting 318 right now.
Yeah, he's hitting, like, the numbers are really impressive with him, and he is projected to have the best year of his career. Also, he's been healthy. Health was an issue with him. He's been healthy, maybe because he's not playing in the field, but he's doing what he's supposed to do. So I know he's pretty much playing for a contract again because he can come out, he can opt out in 2 years. But he's taking ownership of that responsibility and really handling the pressure of playing in Boston. I think I'm very impressed this year. This week, Mookie Bet was shut down by the injury, and JD was pretty much the guy to watch this week. You know.
Yeah, having a great year for the Red Sox does look like the one of the big free agent pickups of the offseason, if not the best pickup of the offseason. JD Martinez, the Boston Red Sox, the realest this week from Cisco, the realest. And with that, go ahead.
Yeah, I think he has emerged as a late bloomer, and I'm looking forward to see more from him.
I'm sure you will, both as a Yankee fan and as a Boston resident. That he will dominate your summer, my man. And so let's turn our attention now to the attorney at sports and find out for our closing arguments. Attorney, who are you putting on the stand this week?
I'm putting Sonny Gray on the stand.
I love that one.
You know, bro, Sonny Gray, man, he pitched great last night. Did you guys get it? You guys watch him? Did you get a chance to watch him last night?
No, I did not last night. I was watching the Phils Dodgers.
You know, granted,
Giants. I'm sorry.
Granted, it was against Baltimore. You know, not a great team. Sonny Gray went 6 innings, I believe 1 earned run, 7 strikeouts, and that's what the Yankees. That's a great start. That's what the Yankees traded Sonny Gray for. Those type of outings and those type of starts. But those type of starts from Sonny Gray have been very far and very few and far between. You know, they haven't been very common for Sonny Gray, and that's just not going to cut it. And I need to see more starts like last night from Sonny Gray going forward, because here's why. It's not like he's a scrub pitcher that, throws 88 miles per hour, that doesn't know how to, not a good pitcher. He is a good pitcher with great stuff. He's just going back to our earlier opening argument with the not throwing the fastball and relying too much on the breaking ball. I watched Sonny Gray pitch, and it just looks like he's not confident. He's not confident in stuff. He's not confident on the mound. Whatever it may be, I think the biggest problem with Sonny Gray has been confidence. So me as the attorney, I'm calling out Sonny Gray. I'm saying, listen, Sonny, bro, you got to become more confident. You got to be more confident in your abilities. You got to be more confident in terms of, hey, I know I have the ability to get it done, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get it done because, listen, the Yankees are depending on Sonny Gray. They are depending on him. You could argue that after Severino, it's a tie for the second most important starter between Tanaka and Sonny Gray. So it's not like Sonny Gray is the 5th starter. Whatever you get from him, you get from him. No, the Yankees are depending on him, and they're depending on him a lot. And it's that simple, Sonny Gray. We need more consistency out of you, bro. That simple.
Sonny Gray put on the stand. Even after one of his best games of the season, you took him out to the woodshed. Congratulations, great game. Whack.
Because listen.
That's very Yankee fan, man. I love it.
I remember about a month. I remember about a month ago, Sonny Gray pitched the same type of game against the Minnesota Twins. I actually think he went 7. I'm sorry, it was against the Royals. It was against the Royals. He went 7 innings, like 12 strikeouts, gave up no runs. Then the next outing, he comes back against the Angels and goes 2 innings, lasts only 2 innings, and gives up 6 runs. There hasn't been two back-to-back good starts for Sonny Gray. He hasn't stacked up 2 good starts.
But this is funny. This is what's funny. Like I'm here to see if attorney really can have whole Lestro. No lie. I'm here looking to see if Sonny Gray was a free agent. I'm like looking here, If Sonny Gray was a free agent, then I would say, well, attorney, in the second half of the season, he's gonna turn it around because he's pitching for a contract. Listen, it's not happening, attorney. It's not happening. Look, Sonny Gray, it's funny that you mentioned the Royal, but he did this against Baltimore, like against teams that are really bad. He's doing that. And as much as as much as I have a problem with Tanaka, my problem with Sonny Gray is bigger. So I congratulate you for putting him in the stand. But
Yeah, because
my problem with Sonny Gray is a
stuff.
lot bigger than it is with Tanaka. Sonny Gray is proven to be a typical Oakland guy. Barry Zito, Mark Mulder. Sonny Gray is proven to be a typical Oakland guy that don't live up to that expectation.
Ooh.
You forgot
Rich Harden.
You're totally Moneyball, man. Sorry, Sonny Gray.
Hudson.
All you'll ever be is Moneyball. Well, boys, with that, let's turn to our fantasy topic and our what to watch this week to close out the show. As always, we got our guys that you might want to go after, guys that you might want to drop. We got our fantasy tips from both the attorney and Cisco the realist. Let's start with the attorney. Attorney, my man, tell me a little bit about this week in fantasy.
All right, I'll give you 2 players to pick up. One is Mitch Moreland from the Red Sox. Now he's the everyday first baseman with the Red Sox releasing Hanley Ramirez. And Mitch Moreland, he's a career 255 hitter. Nothing great, nothing special, but a solid hitter.
Solid.
This year, though,
that's the word.
Solid hitter. Yeah, solid. This year, though, he's hitting 319. Well, now I wrote these numbers down a couple days ago. I'm sure the numbers have increased. 319, 8 homers, 26 RBIs. He did hit a homer last night, so now he has 9 home runs. And again, he has an everyday role with the Red Sox. He's going to be the everyday first baseman. So even if he starts to struggle a little bit, you can bet on him being in the lineup every day. And then another player I want you to pick up, a pitcher, Carlos Rondon. This guy's been a top prospect in the White Sox organization for a little bit, but his career has been delayed due to Tommy John surgery. But he's making his debut next week.
And this young on the White Sox.
Say that again?
I said his career's also been delayed by being on the White Sox.
True. But this young lefty, Carlos Rondon, man, he has swing and miss stuff. Elite swing and miss stuff. And now he has a fresh arm, coming back from Tommy John surgery. Hasn't pitched in a while. Should be on a pitch count restriction, but still has the talent and the stuff to rack up a lot of strikeouts. So my 2 players to pick up, Mitch Moreland and Carlos Rondon.
Rondon probably also be a good value pickup. It's a bit of a risk-reward kind of guy.
True. And let me name you 2 players to drop. Number 1, Hunter Pence. Hunter Pence, man, World Series champion with the Giants. Fan favorite. They love him.
I still love him from his time on the Phillies. I love him.
Yeah, he's a fan favorite, no doubt about it. But he's coming back from the DL, and you fantasy owners might hung on to him to show him, to reward him for being a quality player. But listen, there's no room for him now in the Giants because the everyday left fielder is Mac Williamson. Andrew McCutcheon's out there in the outfield. So there's really no room for Hunter Pence. He's going to be a platoon player. And guys, listen, you don't want no platoon players on your bench. Send them to the waiver wire. And then another player drop, it hurts me to say, but it's CC Sabathia, man. CC just doesn't have the stuff anymore. He doesn't have that explosive fastball anymore. And an 89-mile-per-hour fastball, that's just not going to cut it in fantasy baseball. I need some strikeouts. CC's not racking up the strikeouts. So go ahead and drop CC Sabathia.
It's good advice. That's good advice. What about you, Cisco? What are you watching this week on the fantasy side?
Man. Guys, my advice to you guys, please. I made this mistake. Those who are believer and Matt Olson, start playing him. Matt Olson, last night I benched him, 200, 3 RBIs, 3 wrong, and that's the reason why I'm down, because I didn't play him.
That sounds like your problem, not his.
No, but people have been benching him until the right time comes. Because Matt Olson is not a guy that a lot of people drop. A lot of people took him with the hope that he will have a big year. Another guy that is hot, if you don't have him, and he's available in a lot of fantasy league, is Brandon Nimmo from the Mets. Nimmo.
Yeah. He's the leadoff hitter for the Mets.
Yeah, Brandon Nimmo from the Mets. He's having a good week. He's batting 360, 307 RBIs.
He'll give you the stolen bases too.
Two stolen bases, which is very rare to come nowadays because of the analytics.
Bringing it full circle, Cisco the realist. Well, guys, that I don't. Oh, go ahead.
A guy, stay away, people. Stay away. Do not believe in the hype. Do not get your hopes up. Chris Davis, never take him. Leave him in waiver. Those days are over.
Yeah.
Chris Davis,
worst contract in baseball.
Yes.
There's your fantasy advice for the week. And as you know, I don't play the fantasy. I just watch the games. And I got to tell you guys, the ones I'll be watching this week, there's a big 2-game series coming up on Tuesday where the Seattle Mariners, who are staying hot despite the suspension to Robinson Cano, head down to Houston to take on division-leading Houston Astros. It's only a 2-game series, but I think it's a big test for the Mariners. Should be a fairly good-sized test for Houston, too. We get to see a little bit of separation. We get to watch two of the better teams in the American League, both making the run, both trying to vie for it. That's going to be a heck of a series down there. Also this week in midweek, I'm going to be watching the Phillies play the Cubs because I love Wrigley Field, and the Phil's going into Wrigley. Always a chance to see Wrigley. I love it. Should also be a decent test again for both teams. Midland teams trying to make their mark. Then this weekend, starting on June 8th, that's Friday. The big series, the always fun series that I know you guys will be watching, is the Yankees are in Queens to take on the Mets. Now, this should not be a particularly good series. The Yankees should really sort of scrape the Mets off their shoes after each of these games. But that said, always fun to watch Yankee fans invade Queens and take over Citi Field. So that could be fun. Also this weekend, I'm going to be watching the NL Central leading Brewers, who are starting to run away with that division. We're going to have to talk about that in an upcoming show.
I called them. I called it for the Brewers winning the NL Central.
They had the off season that made it look like it, and they're finally starting to play. They will be in Philadelphia next weekend to play the Phillies, the surprising Phils. We'll see how they shake out then, because I'm not as impressed with the Central, but this will be a chance to see them play in the East. And of course, the other big series this weekend is going to be the Atlanta Braves heading into LA to take on the Dodgers. Another one that should be great watching. Good week of baseball ahead, boys. I don't know. As always, you look for these games. There's always good games going forward,
Yeah, man. You're something else, Lestro. You're pretty good at this thing.
All right, guys. Well, that is the time we have on the show for this week. Thanks for listening to BaseHeads, brought to you as always by the worldofsportsnetwork.com. You can find us anywhere. You can find your favorite podcast. We're on the iTunes. We're on the Google Play. We're on the Anchor. We're just about everywhere. Tell your friends. Tell everybody. Share it around. You can find me, Lestro, on Twitter at @MoreOrLestro. I got thoughts on everything. We'll be watching the basketball. Speaking of thoughts on everything, including the basketball, I know the attorney at sports has some thoughts going on in the NBA Finals. So you can find him where, attorney?
Yes, sir. You can go find me on Instagram, attorney@sports_. Don't forget that underscore. And you can go check my show out on YouTube, Sports in Order, on the World of Sports Network YouTube channel. Go ahead and subscribe. Do me a favor, subscribe. World of Sports Network YouTube channel, Sports in Order. That's the show. And then, of course, this show, BaseHeads. It's getting hot. It's getting, baseball season really is here now. The weather's getting hot, baby. Let's go, BaseHeads.
We got a week of everything else, and then it's all baseball all the time. Cisco, my man, where can they find you?
They can find me at Cisco.Realest in Instagram. And they can also find me at Cisco.Realest in Facebook. And they can also find me back tomorrow, and everybody has an opinion.
Everybody has an opinion. I'll tell you what. Hey, you guys
who'd you guys find to take my spot?
No, it's gonna be just that. It's just gonna be just the two of us until you ever decide to come back.
Okay.
That's the time on the show this week. Thanks for listening to BaseHeads. Until next time, my name is Lestro. That's the attorney. That's Cisco the realist. Thanks for listening.
All right, peace and love, guys. All right, guys.